Peace, everybody. What's good? This is our boy George Malachi Williams, and you are now in tune to the We Buy Homes Fast in Florida podcast. Let's go. This particular podcast is this is episode 3. This is my third podcast. So, episode 3. This particular podcast is talking about how you can sell your property in Hollywood, Florida without a real estate agent, right? Because most people, when they want to sell their properties, everyone knows that you would get with an agent would come out and look at your property. You'll have an agreement between yourself, which is the seller, and the agent. And the agent would definitely look at the property and tell you all of the upgrades that you're going to need in order to get your property up to par to look pretty much irresistible to a potential buyer. So, and then of course the agent is going to get a 6% fee, in commissions. So if you're looking to sell your property in Hollywood without using a real estate agent, I'm going to show you some of the ways, one of the best ways to be able to do that. And you will be able to make a decision, an informed decision on exactly what would be the best route. Because sometimes going with an agent is the best route. There's nothing wrong with going with the real estate agent. But if you don't want to pay those fees and have your property sitting on the MLS for 91 plus days and maybe have to wait 30 to 60 days if and after you find a buyer to buy your property in order to close, you might want to look at some other options like going around a real estate agent and selling your property directly to a potential real estate investor. So let's look at my computer screen, and I'm going to show you some of the blog. I'm going to show you a blog that I wrote, and I'm going to read it to you, share my screen with you so you'll be able to see it, okay? Let's go. Okay, everybody, as of right now, you're looking at my computer screen. This is actually my website, We Buy Homes Fast in Florida. And basically what I want to talk about is if you're living in the Hollywood, Florida area, right, and you want to sell your house without an agent, let me share with you some of the content that I wrote and what would be the best way, and so what are your best options in order to be able to do that. I'm just going to read this to you right quick. I'm going to make this video brief. I don't want to make it long, but I want it to be very informative. I want you to be able to, when you decide, whatever decision you decide to make, I want you to make the best decision and the most informative decision possibly. So, selling your house or investment property in Hollywood without using a real estate agent, if that's what you want to do, a company like We Buy Homes Fast in Florida can help you. Although we do cooperate with brokers, sometimes it's best to avoid paying someone in the middle. After paying 5 to 6% of the sale of a property in a commission is a lot of money. As you know, that is a lot of money. And in certain situations, Florida brokers and real estate agents can be very useful and earn their commission, but not always. So let's look at some of the ways that'd be beneficial to you. Now, as you may not know, there are a few ways to avoid paying high commissions in Hollywood when you're trying to sell your house. First, there's a tricky custom that you have to know about. In most cases, in Hollywood, roughly half of the commission you pay as the seller goes for the buyer's broker. Now, that doesn't make sense, right? And if you don't know what a broker is nothing but a middleman who put the buyer and the seller together in order and negotiate a deal between the two. That's all a broker is. And they get paid for their services in order to do that. Why should you pay for the agent on the other side of the table? Now, truthfully, it does defy logic. It's just what's typically done. But you can use that to your advantage in a few ways. Now, the first thing that you want to factor in is the commissions paid when you are looking at the comparable sales. If the property is similar to yours sold for prices that include commissions, you might want to take that into account. No matter what you do, don't underprice your property. Be aware that a savvy buyer may expect to take a discount too. If you're doing the work of one agent, you can expect to save that money. So if you're doing the work, expect to save that money. Don't do the work and then pay the money at the same time. That doesn't make sense. Sometimes in Hollywood, buyers who aren't represented by an agent won't remember to negotiate the buyer's side commission out of the price for themselves. So don't remind them if you don't want to pay them. Just don't be surprised if it comes up during the negotiation. You may want to consider offering 2.5% to buyer's agents who will bring their client to show your property. Sure, it's a lot of money, if you're pricing your property, including that commission. You can always negotiate a better deal for a purchaser who comes with an agent. But on the other hand, if you don't leave room for the buyer's agent's commission, you will be excluding most of the buyers in the market in Hollywood. Over 90% of transactions happen through the MLS. That's the multiple listing service. It's the main database that all brokers in Hollywood use to access information for their clients on houses, condos, land, and investment properties for sale, along with data on sold properties. Once upon a time, you had to pay a full commission to get your property on the MLS. Now in Hollywood, there are a few brokers who will charge you a fee just to list your property on the MLS. Often, you spend a few $100 and you only pay a commission if the sale closes. Compared to the cost of a newspaper ad, the MLS is a cheap way to market your property to a very wide audience. All the major real estate search sites such as Realtor.com, Zillow, Yahoo Homes, etc. get data from the MLS. Chances are good that when you submit your listing in Hollywood to the MLS, information on your property will end up on most of the major sites within a few days. So that's the good thing. Each of those sites sell ads. They've got packages that let you pay to enhance your listings. Feature it at the top of the search also. That's a good thing. And a lot of other bells and whistles that might or might not get an interested buyer to buy your property. Advertising is a gamble. Sometimes open houses in Hollywood, Florida can be a great way to sell a property, and sometimes they're a waste of time. Same with newspaper ads, Craigslist postings, fancy signs, or better known as bandit signs. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. To effectively sell your property on your own, you have to market it well. Putting up flyers and signs around your neighborhood can generate some calls, and there's a lot of free websites where you can post information. But often, just putting up flyers and an open house isn't enough if your house doesn't appeal to the average home buyer. That's the key thing. It has to appeal to the average home buyer. If your house is not appealing from a price standpoint or from a look standpoint, it has to pass the eye test. Then a lot of times, it may not work out, even if you market it. Now, in theory, real estate agents charging big commissions because they have to spend a lot of money up front to advertise your property. By advertising lots of properties at once, they expect to get more phone calls, and obviously, they will make good profits from selling lots of houses. Certain properties might require thousands of dollars in advertising expenses before the right buyer happens to see the ad and call. If you want to avoid paying any commissions, you can also sell your house to investors like us for cash. We have fair prices for properties, and we can close fast in as little as 3 to 5 days if you need to. Sometimes we'll purchase Hollywood houses, fix them up, then rent them out. Sometimes we'll fix them up and sell them to other people looking for great homes in the area, and a lot of other reasons too. But we love to hear from people like you who are thinking of selling anywhere in Florida. We're investors who care a lot about Hollywood. We close fast and pay cash in as little as 3 to 5 days. Give us a call now at 305-778-2108 or fill out the short form below. Now, as you can see, that these are just some of the reasons why you might want to sell your home if you live in Hollywood, Florida, without using a real estate agent. Again, there's nothing wrong with using a real estate agent. I highly would advise it, but depending on what your situation is, if you want to avoid paying high commissions, everybody's situation is different. So you might want to look at selling your home to a real estate investment company like We Buy Homes Fast in Florida. We do close out fast, and we can close out fast. Actually, we can close in as little as 3 to 5 days. We can close faster than any real estate agent that you may sell your property through. So I just wanted you to just look at some of your options. If you don't want to go through a real estate agent, fine. You can use a company like We Buy Homes Fast in Florida because we do offer cash for homes, cash for properties. And if it makes sense, we definitely would be able to buy the property and would be willing to buy the property. We don't buy all properties because sometimes it just doesn't make sense and we won't waste your time. But you can actually, visit a website, We Buy Homes Fast in Florida, and fill out just a quick form below. You don't have to pay, a lot of money or anything. Just fill out the form. You don't have to waste a lot of time. It's not going to ask you for much information. Once you fill it out, we can go from there and we'll be able to get back with you and let you know exactly pretty much within 5 minutes what we'd be willing to offer you for your property once we look it up, okay? So again, hit the like button, share, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And look at the description below this video so you can actually follow us on Instagram and Twitter and even our Facebook page also. Other than that, this is George Malachi Williams. I wish you luck and thank you for watching this podcast. Peace out.